That's fire.
Let's run it up.
Push to talk.
Yeah, it's good shit started.
Push to talk. Open mic. Here we go. Yes, sir. For what rank you finished last season?
Grandmaster.
You'll need a top-notch team to
So
win
did you
this
start
one.
at silver or gold?
Goal 3.
Yeah, what are changes to like what are the major changes in this update, bro? I don't think I've played since. I played once actually.
I don't know, still.
We'll figure it out as we go, I guess.
Have you guys been playing?
I've played a little
I've played
bit.
a couple
I've only
games.
played to do the missions, so I've
Yeah,
only
same.
played like nothing serious.
I haven't done. I played like 2 games of comp and I called it a day still.
I played one game of comp by accident, like earlier today.
To help them.
I kind of clicked on that shit, and I was like watching a YouTube video. I was not paying attention to what was going on in the game.
30 seconds before you attack.
Yo, this is one dude who on our team who likes huge ass, bro.
Every time
Oh
I see
shit!
you, I think to myself,
And it's not Jeff the Shark. Let me tell you that
everything will
much.
be all right.
That's a lot of pressure.
I don't mean it that way. You just mean a lot to a lot of people.
Damn, yo, why is Spider-Man staring so hard?
The battle starts in 5,
Staring?
What's the mind
3,
control?
2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it? Hey, make fun of my
Uh-oh.
all you want, but I've still beaten Doom and Thanos.
Oh, we got a Black Widow.
Oh no.
You guys watch out. Don't get two shot. Get this guy. Oh,
Look at that Venom, bro. He's one.
Oh my god, I almost died. Yeah, so you know like the normal changes, right? Or do you know anything at all?
No what?
You know anything that changed about this game?
Not really, other than the Adam Warlocks. Some of the Soul Bomb got nerfed.
Okay, well Namor has a team up with Hulk now, you know that, right?
Or the team with who?
With Hulk?
We got one body, bro.
Oh fuck.
The first body of the game, bro. That's crazy.
Let's go.
I appreciate you.
Okay, we're getting more.
Oh, Magic
Oh, I'm dead,
Divine.
I'm dead.
Let's get some bodies. Let's get some bodies.
Yeah, get Namor, bro.
Yo, get Venom, bro. That pussy running. Oh, he went and got a health pack still.
Plasma?
Oh, plasma burst, yo.
Oh, let's go.
I got the
Yo,
last
watch
shot
out.
on
If you
this
touch this,
sniper.
you go slow for a second. Bro. Watch out.
Help get that
Watch
vehicle
out,
to its
guys.
destination.
Yeah, Namor has a team up with Hulk now. It's kind of
It's crazy. It's busted stuff.
Team up with who?
with Hulk, bro.
Hulk.
instead of Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah,
it's
the
Namor
fucking
now.
yeah, that's so stupid, bro. They gave the gamma shit.
Time to go
Fucking laser beam. Actually nuts. It's actually nuts in this world, bro.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
No, I sold it.
My animal pals are way cuter, Nate.
Who are you?
Save me. Oh my god. I had that.
Yo, Surfer, what character are you playing, bro?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Oh, you're Spider-Man? Oh, you're not doing too bad.
Yeah, I'm sick.
KO.
Your powers are mine!
Disappear.
I keep trying to hit this checkpoint so I can change characters real quick.
Oh no. Get out of here.
Eat him, buddy. Eat him, bro. Who's Venom guy, bro?
BB Dogline.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint.
W hold
Pussy.
Dark
I appreciate
What the fuck is magic, bro?
Oh, I got too much dip on my chips, though. I had too much
Sir,
dip on
I'm
my
about to
chips.
lose your team up for my achievements.
I used to be a sword master.
That's calm. I'm changing too.
So much more. Time to heal.
Oh, they switched from Loki? Oh, I shouldn't have changed that.
double KO.
Wait, is someone in the backline? Was someone?
I'm deeping game one. Deep. There's no chance.
Yeah, do your
He's
thing,
cooked,
bro.
More eager idiots.
I got dead offs. You never go black Dante. Try so lost continues.
Dead dude.
Venom's ult on point.
Don't let anything stand in your way. Let's underneath the surface
Solo
of
has
this
blessed me
planet.
again.
Oh fuck.
Disappear.
Ooh, me and Jeff. Let's go.
Iron Man's in our back line.
He's running in.
The power of the moon.
So close.
Watch out, the healers are back on.
Magic speed.
Bless me, so
Oh my god. Noise. And then go back to basic. Oh, watch out
Oh
for that.
no! Wait, that how did that not hit me? It's crazy. Can someone get this Iron Man off me? I
Inshallah,
can't
I
reach
get
him.
3 kills right now.
Yo, someone get this Iron Man, bro!
Got the Iron Man.
Oh, W.
I'm just fighting for my fucking life right now. Can't get 3 kills.
Hit them more up top.
I didn't get fucking 3 kills today.
Let's go.
Another epic
That's too easy, man.
win.
Please tell me I
Oh,
got the achievement.
as Iron Fist.
I didn't get the achievement.
W heal by yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, W heals for real. In casual. Was not expecting that.
That was the closest I ever got.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
一夫当关，万夫莫开。
Punch wraps up green.
I love it. I love it. Poppy Rafa.
CP digging in, yo. What do you mean by CP, bro?
Poppy Rafa.
Poppy Rafa.
Nobody is watching.
My power is a gift from so.
What's this guy on about, bro?
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Nobody is watching.
What is it that you seek here, Dr. Richards? Well, the same as always, Adam.
Did I miss something? Oh, he said he's streaming on Twitch.
Into this madness. I see.
Don't need to stream some bitches for real.
Blind faith,
Huh?
even science.
Ah, got you.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Alright, guys, you think I'm gonna get 3 kills in my ult this game?
No.
Kunlun is
No.
one of the last standing sanctuaries.
Really be your own.
help get that beacon to its destination.
Idols turn Marvel rivals, bro.
No, I'm trying to fuel you, bro.
Cheaper town hall?
Immortality has its perks.
A waste of innocent sea life.
Should have doused your flame. What's on the spider bot?
Why is magic just doing it?
Flame may be out for you, but my fist burns eternal.
Oh, cooked.
You're halfway there.
Yeah, we gotta get the last.
Get this no more up top, bro.
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
Oh my god, he out-annoyed me. I'm embarrassed.
Immortality has its perks.
You win that fight. You win that fight. You win that fight, Arjun.
Oh, this fucker got healed, bro. I had him.
Bro, you're a healer.
He's our only healer, bro.
This time
I was surprised we made it this far, to be honest.
Ooh, I got getting dusted right now.
Funny, I'm dusted. Oh shit. Oh fuck.
Am I our only healer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm in here, bro.
Oh, born again?
Just for you, bro.
Yo, sick, bro. You took the health back, bro.
Oh fuck no! No, no, no! Bro, Invisible Woman was just chilling and then fucking pushed me off. All invisible and shit, bro. That's a good play, bro. I'm so mad how good a play
They
that
tried
was.
to push me off. Nah, cheaper town hall. Oh, I died to the mines anyway.
Oh my god, bro. Guys, lock in. We need to lock in, guys.
Lock in. Alright.
There's
We
a
have a
magic on
tank
me.
now.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Oh, magic's deep in our backline. That's just Gucci main.
Is that the best the ocean's had to offer?
That's one down, guys. We good.
Stay close to us, Spider Zero.
Trying to push up.
Suppose that helps.
Fuck you, bitch. Fuck is invisible.
I'm
invisible
gone.
woman behind us.
Rocket's gone.
Invisible. Alright, good.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
Bumba.
fighting the west.
Oh, nice. Oh, you died?
Just no more.
It's all good.
Our child? Okay.
Oh wait, we didn't get the fucking checkpoint? I died for nothing?
What do you mean? Well, we got the point, at least, in some capacity.
Fuck the point, bro. Let's get the checkpoint,
Stop
bro.
following me. Stop following me. Oh my god. Follow. Yo, get the point. Get the point.
Yeah, we lost the
Nah,
point.
that shit.
There's
that
no
shit
way.
coming
There's
back,
no
bro.
way. There's no way, bro.
We gotta
Bruh.
wait a minute. Chill. Group up.
Bro, I did not want to walk all the way back there.
That's okay, bro. Relax.
Only 60
I'm waiting for you guys. Let's go. Yo, who the fuck's AFK, bro?
seconds again.
This guy is not serious.
Okay, Iron Man in the sky.
I was fine, but thank you.
Alright, Iron Man's blind. Yo, focus on those motherfuckers.
Alright, magic behind us.
I died.
Alright, I'm going in. Alright, I'm about to die. I'm dead.
Your lone healer is deceased. Bro, why the fuck did they nerf Warlock, bro? He was like the last character that needed to be nerfed.
Over.
Oh my god, I'm about to get murked.
Get that vehicle moving
Guys,
again.
we're gonna lose.
Yeah. That's what I would say if I was a loser.
Rocket's almost dead. Rocket's dead.
Oh my god, no fucking way.
I died. Yes, I'm back.
Oh, I'm back.
Guys, get
Oh,
on
we
point.
You didn't have to do him like that, bro.
Bro, that was a winnable
smelled
game,
dead.
man. Fuck, but I'm so mad we didn't get that checkpoint, bro.
Yeah, they
L heals, bro.
just flexed on us.
L heals? Yo, thank you, man.
Hell heals, bro. Healing the app for sure.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
一夫当关，万夫莫开。
Egg Nussy? Anita Bagel?
Jabby Shine.
Javshan.
Well, let's go. Let's go.
Anita Bagel.
That's a good name.
I fuck it.
I'm caked up. I don't need a baker.
We're going 3 tank, 2 support.
Comes with a price.
One healer again?
Glad
Alright.
to pay it.
Oh no, we got 2 healers.
No, there's 2 support. There's 2.
Okay, 1 DPS. Alright.
30 seconds before
I
you
got this,
attack.
guys.
Get ready.
Oh, we got no range. Oh, fuck. Oh, nah, bro. I wanted 3. I wanted 3 tank. Let's switch it back. Fuck this shit.
Good for you, old man.
I need a
Age
baker.
doesn't know
I need to max me.
time to heal.
Get off of me.
The battle
Stop.
starts in 5, 4, 3, 2,
He is Groot.
All you need to do is capture the mission.
Yo, what's this Jeff on about, bro?
I'm not sure my training is at the save the
Mercy.
multiverse stage yet. Bless me, soul.
Does he see me? He doesn't see me. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Oh, he cooked me. That guy's stronger than me, bro.
You'll fall long before I do.
The mission area is yours.
Is this fucking Mr. Fantastic still alive?
Backslash.
Yeah,
So
bro.
get these walls out of here, dog.
Beat the shit out of me, bro. I thought I had hands. Apparently, he had bigger hands, bro.
So this place is curious. Keep an eye here.
I'm gonna go Groot.
Yeah, why is this Penny chilling up there, bro?
I mean, as long as it's not on the point, I'm not too pressed about it. You know what I'm saying?
No, fuck that guy, bro.
Yo. Chill, bro. I gotta pray real
Bless me,
quick.
soul.
Yeah, this team is weird, bro.
Yeah, they know the points like down here, right?
Yeah, I don't like how they move. You feel me?
I mean, oh, I died. Yeah, honestly, I shouldn't even push that.
Oh my god, the walls I built.
Baby, they're crumbling down.
Together. Fuck, bro. I'm fucking stuck.
Keep going.
They didn't even make a sound.
No.
Yo, they're on the point, guys.
Oh, I forgot we have more healers.
Time to heal.
Let me pray real quick. Why did you switch together? Oh, yo, I got swallowed.
Oh, good. Bro, so much is going on.
It's almost yours.
Oh my god, he went crazy.
Oh my god, yo. Oh, we're back?
Second chance.
Yeah, maybe I should just start praying in the middle of the fucking gunplay. I'm in there. Bye-bye. Who left? Who won it? Who won it?
Ooh, on me, bro.
Whoa. She wanted. Okay, she wanted. There's definitely someone.
Oh, we got an offensive Jeff, bro. Let's fucking go.
9/11.
9/11.
This guy's terrorist, bro.
Rom 7
My
on
power is a
9
gift
7
from
11.
Solal the
Yeah,
Undying.
assist, bro.
You're 7, 10. Bottom son.
Bro, why can't I do the emo?
Emo?
What do you
30
mean?
seconds
Emotes.
before you
What are you
attack.
talking about?
Get ready.
Emo.
What emo?
I am happy to see you too. battle to
Is it working?
Look up and down.
I beat Dr. Do once and I'll do it again.
Some.
Get in my face.
It kind of worked for like a second.
Not working.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
You gotta start moving though.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission.
Mm-hmm. Savage.
So if I gotta
6,
practice-
7.
gotta
Oh my
practice
god,
it
I'm
for it,
fast. Oh my god, I'm so speedy.
Yo, let me pray about that real quick. Hold on.
He is Groot.
Blessing me so loud. Oh, guys. Keep calling Tao out. 1. Oh, I only got 1, guys. That's right.
Oh my god.
These guys
No,
love
no,
me.
oh my god, real.
Done. Yo, it's fucking Venom's 2-shot, bro.
Time to heal.
Okay, Winter Soldiers in our backline.
The mission area is yours.
I'm punching him. Oh, he ulted on me. He's trying to get me. He's trying to get me.
1.
He didn't get me.
Happy birthday.
Somebody heal me, please.
Heal at last. Bless me.
Let me pray about that real quick.
Holy
Hold
fuck,
it down
my
for a
accuracy
second.
sucks.
I got hands. I got bands.
May you find peace.
Eee.
This is real firepower.
Oh, you fucker, bro.
Born again.
Oh. You love her, bro.
I got you, bro.
Bless me.
Let me pray about that real quick.
Oh my god.
Rocket Raccoon, your days are numbered.
That was so scary.
Oh, Wolverine on me, bro. It's okay, I'm focused. I'm
You've
focused.
hit more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Yeah, this guy's such butt, bro.
It's so butt. Let me get 3 kills on my ult.
Am I the Go Groot, bro?
No.
No.
Damn, that hurt.
I know bro didn't say that with me and love you, bro.
He's sitting right next to you, bro.
Time to heal.
Okay, let me pray real quick. Oh, psych. Oh, I died anyways.
I require some aid. Together.
Yo, someone soul bound with me, bro. Where you guys? Hey, yo, get a point, get a point. We're good. Never
I
mind.
don't feel like it.
Our aquatic enemies have been eliminated.
Think anybody's gonna make it in time? Oh, they made it.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Oh.
Your powers are mine. Me not to make the tiny shark
It got me rocket. The man copied Rocket's ult, bro.
Yeah, I saw it. Like, there's no way. That's the
That's
only
so
one you
funny.
can get, bro. I don't know what happened, bro.
That is
You
jokes.
panicked or something.
Another epic
Sure.
victory. Big win.
Shit too easy, bro. Damn, man.
Where's the Justin guy at, bro?
Pick your
you say?
hero or villain. I'm not judging.
Man can't breathe, bro.
Oh, you wanted to breathe? I didn't know that, bro. Did he?
Dude, what do you mean? Breathe. Like, elaborate. Please.
Tell me how I'm supposed
Is it
to
5
breathe
DPS again?
without
Oh no, we got
air.
10.
One healer though.
You know my legacy.
Alright,
But
alright.
this is a
Am I gonna get
whole
it this
new
game?
chapter.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Honestly, I can see this game, bro. I'm feeling this game.
Yes.
I've never seen a chi so
You
perfectly
know what?
aligned, Adam.
I just want to do this to be a troll, so.
You gonna try to pull some
You guys are taking, like,
What do you do to recount?
yeah, take my ult when there's nobody dead.
When that doesn't work.
Nah, bro, I'm gonna take Manir's ult and then do the fucking thing.
No, I'm sure. Why would it count?
All you need to do is capture the mission.
I already did it, bro. I don't even have to. I've already done it.
Yeah, so why don't you do the ones you have left, bro? Don't
I
you-
finished it, bro. Oh, well, not the other ones. I can't keep track of them on this thing.
My heart goes out to you.
Huh? What do you mean by that?
Time to heal.
Right, man. Means I'm a Nazi.
Healed at last.
Looks like the mission area is yours.
Oh, guys, they're chasing me. They're shooting me, bro. Thank you. I'm giving this guy the work. Oh, he's running. I'm dead.
Capture the mission area.
Did they capture the mission area?
I still need you.
Let's go.
The iron fist still burns.
Moon Knight's my only counter, guys. Come on.
Me and Diddy Jr. on the way. Don't worry, bro.
Yo, this guy's getting.
How's Moon Knight your only?
Oh my
counter?
This guy's
God.
getting healed like crazy, bro.
Giving him the hands, bro. I'm giving them the hands, bro.
That's 3.
Nah, I just need to do that in my ult next time. Fuck this game.
Wow.
Wow, 4 in a row. Yes. Alright, bro. Maybe you're onto something. Maybe these guys are even worse than the guys we versed last time. Like, how did they let me do a 4-piece on them, bro? Started praying right in front of them. Okay. Pull my ult.
The iron fist still burns.
Ass knee.
Hmm? My brother.
The Jeff has ult. Ah, I called it.
Heads up, back guys.
I am ready to
Dog, Emma Frost has
No,
way
you
too small of a
fucking-
hitbox to be a fucking tank, bro.
capture more than
fucking
half of the mission area.
bitches.
Keep going.
Solo has blessed me
I
again.
had to go and get my ult again.
Control lost.
I am
Rise, my friends!
the moon haunts us.
Your team's
This guy nutted, bro. What the heck?
That's such an asshole thing to do.
Man, I did not do it.
Your powers are mine.
double KO.
You'll fall long before I do.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't want to play Loki. Loki's kind of shit.
Can you please?
I'm gonna stop trolling. Let's win this.
You belong to me.
Ooh,
Manila.
that's not good.
Man, let me know when you go in your ult. I'm gonna heal you like a motherfucker.
You're sure you'd be doing that regardless, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Keep fighting until we all win.
Solo has blessed me again.
Damn it! Oh, we lost. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You can say that again.
I'm the sworn protector of Quinlan. Who are you? Bless me, Solo.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
I don't think I was praying enough last time.
Oh, good. Perfect.
You weren't paying enough?
Make me feel inadequate.
Yeah, something like that.
Did you pay today?
Got me.
Perhaps a good fight will improve your self-image.
What are you gonna do to me if I didn't?
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I'm gonna pray.
Solo.
I'm gonna beat the fuck up out of Groot right now. I'm giving him the hands. And,
I'll try healing you, bro.
Yeah. I'm just gonna hold up.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Groot's still low.
Immortality has its
Nice.
perks.
I almost have my ult.
Oh my god, she's hunting me.
Time to heal.
Who's hunting you?
think I'm afraid of being hurt.
Magic.
She's coming back. I'm like All Might. Keep going tower.
Frost is one. Ah, this bitch ulted.
Oh,
Mission area!
every time, bro.
You help me with Ever Frost.
Yeah,
No.
there's no ulting, bro. Can't
Honestly,
do
it
shit
might
about
be. It
that.
might be time to pull out Spider-Man, bro. Fuck this healer. Fuck this healer shit, bro.
Agreed.
How am I the ace? I'm 5 and 7, bro.
Bro. You're nice.
I rise in the name of Quinlan.
Are we getting point? Let's go.
Yeah, they're off point for some reason. All of them. Iron Man's cooking up there.
No,
he's hurting
he had
them
it.
like sheep, bro. We still have it, bro. We're all here.
Oh, we got it. We got it.
We're better than them.
We are.
I'm better.
It's cause Surple stopped healing, bro. That's why. Wait, no, never mind. Take that
Still
back.
healing stuff.
This guy switched to invisible.
No, I'm fucking cloak and dagger, cut.
Not my fault. Same shit to me.
There's one thing.
Yo, I just want to be Wonder Magic, bro. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Require some aid, bro.
My mind is overcome.
Bro,
Why do you require aid, bro? Do your job.
Fuck you, bro. They nerfed my guy, bro. Fuck, no, get out of there.
I saved you, brother.
Good shit.
I'm getting the more.
One more minute. One more minute. One more minute.
What do you, I'm not in my ult.
That's new, yes, sir. Oh, that's not your ult? That's so embarrassing.
You're saying you're cheering me on, bro. What do you mean? Bro, I got a quad
That
last
was
round without my
embarrassing,
ult when I
bro.
wasn't in my ult, bro.
Yeah,
I
where,
swear you just got a 3-piece.
Yeah, where-
3-piece.
yeah, where these bitches at,
Portal.
Bro,
bro?
these guys get
They're
so
gonna
ass
portal,
when
they're
I'm not
gonna
in my
portal.
ult,
Oh,
bro.
good come.
Oh, they reset it. They're gonna change the whole lineup, bro. Oh my god, they changed the whole lineup. They
Where Oh my god, bro.
Where the niggas at with the dress?
Oh, I see him, they're on the
Niggas
way.
at with the dress?
Time to heal.
Glory is almost yours.
Yeah, I'm a flank still.
You guys shooting at any?
Where are they at?
They're respawning. What do you mean?
Did they quit?
I mean, they
No,
got
they're here,
left, bro. I don't know where Kiroko Kitsune went, bro.
No, not Kiriko's Kasune.
Akasune. Not Rico Suave.
Immortality comes with a price.
All right, 95 on my.
Not Rico Hines.
Rico Hines, I haven't heard that shit in that name in a while, bro.
X-Raptors coach.
Before you attack, get ready.
Yeah, and used to host the runs.
All right, guys.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
Is my
Yeah,
cake
I do not-
switching for you guys?
2, 1. All you need to
Okay,
do
no,
is
never
capture
mind.
the mission area. Got it?
Hey man, shout out Diddy Jr., bro.
Really needs its cheap.
Whoa. Good thing only we can hear this.
Nah, we on public chat, bro.
Yo, let me pray for a second. Oh, the thing want to go hand for hand right now.
Oh, I'm getting fucked up.
Yo, I went
Yeah,
hand
let's
for
go,
hand.
bro. Healers unite, bro.
Area is
Oh my fucking god, bro. Give me a target. Give me a target.
mission area is yours.
Okay. Bro, I'm just throwing hands in their back line.
Yeah, you're on your ones, bro.
I've been dead for a minute.
Oh, these guys are getting fucked urgent. Oh my god, bro. I'm dipping slow.
Rise, my friends!
Oh. Okay, they double ulted on us.
Yes, sir. Go Hulk. Go Hulk. Go Hulk. Go Hulk.
No way!
Hulk. You
I'm
will
in there,
never
I'm in
die,
there, I'm
Hulk.
in there, don't worry, bro.
I am ready to
Oh, she ulted, fuck. I'm chasing him more. I'm bodying him more. I'm farming my ult. Oh, this guy's Venom, bro. Shit.
The iron fist still burns.
Yeah, Hulk's dead, bro.
What's point right now? Do they have point?
Yeah.
That's so gay, bro. What the fuck?
Bless me,
Whoa.
so
Whoa.
Derogatory.
Nothing happy about it, bro.
The amazing Spider-Man!
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Oh, is the Venom down? Yeah, the Venom's down. The Venom's down.
I'm
Push.
in there, bro.
Jeff is dead.
I'm in there, bro.
Venom.
No more, you're next, bitch. Oh, fucking watch.
Go. Keep going. Keep going, Minute. Keep going, Minute. Keep going, Minute.
Spider-Man's not good.
I'm in my ult.
Oh my god.
Heal me.
I'm healing. Go, Minute. Go, guys.
Hold
Is
on.
Vinny doing it? Is Vinny doing it?
Nah,
Oh, wait,
I don't think you gotta sit up body, bro.
all I saw the kill feed is that he got bodied.
bro, I like walked them all the way down to their spawn, but I didn't get a kill.
Captured more than half of the
Oh shit.
Keep going.
Surf had me too hype, bro. I should have played like less aggressive than that, bro.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like you got them.
I mean, I was living for a while, not gonna lie, until like they were just regenerating from inside spawn.
Oh yeah, fuck.
bless me, so
I'll be
Should I bring back a Hawkeye? Nah. Hawkeye, if you hear this, I'm sorry, bro.
I'm so cooked now. Let me get out of here.
The area's almost yours.
You want me to, are you close to your ult again, or what?
I'm at like 34%, bro. This guy's gonna come for us.
Oh my
though.
god.
Ah, shit.
Ah, damn, he got me.
He got me.
I did way too early.
Control lost.
That's tough.
I am ready to put on a show.
Oh, we're so bad.
Get his ass in here.
Yeah, he's too fast for me, bro. Okay, I'm beating him
No!
a frost up. I got him
Oh
a
my
frost. Are you dead?
Guys, we have to lock it. We have to lock it.
Are you
guys.
dead?
We can't lose this. Someone switch
We're not
this.
losing this,
Someone
we're not
switch
losing
this. Someone switch the fucking thing in portal.
I'm on point. We're getting point.
Oh, never mind.
We got point.
We got point. I'm at
Never mind.
81%.
I'm not important.
Bro, I was holding it down, bro.
Was it just you who died and you said we should portal?
Yeah, I'm not important at all.
That boy just switched to like Iron Man and oh no, maybe Iron Man, but
No. Surf, I'm about to watch your highlight, bro. I'm about to see how important you were.
I want to see my highlights too. I want to know what my highlights.
You want to breathe, right? Let's watch our highlights.
Yeah, let's watch everyone's highlight.
alright.
Start with Rappy Taffy.
Mhm.
Alright, let's see what you cooked up, bro.
Oh, good healing. Good healing.
Us against the world.
Oh, then ult.
Team play.
Oh, you got a body? Okay.
Oh, I
okay.
mean, this is after. I think I followed with Menu here. Yeah, this is.
Oh, this is lit.
Oh, so you're
No,
hyping me up now?
No, yeah, that's what I was hyping you up. That was what I was hyping you up. I'm looking with you now.
This is about to be some bullshit, bro.
I think that's when you went to 20v1 on. Never mind.
This is my 4K, bro.
Ooh. Oh yeah, this is the whole thing? Oh no. What does Surpa say? Yo, how embarrassing.
Nah, that was the next time.
That's so jokes, bro.
Alright, Henny 360.
Alright.
It's probably gonna be some crazy revive, bro.
Crazy revive.
Yeah, it's probably just gonna be like a revive, bro.
They revive,
Oh yeah,
last
so
revive,
they
yeah.
revive right before bed, the portal, bro.
I am ready to play the
Again!
This guy's asking for a portal.
The cosmos heals you.
Let me chase
The
this
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Diddy Jr.
That's it? Damn, not a single, like, I didn't even damage nobody, bro. Fuck.
Oh, that's when Diddy Jr. walked him off the point, bro.
Power, baby.
Fuck you, dude.
I hold grudges.
I like to fuck with the dude.
So Diddy Jr.
Okay, what do I do? Damn, there's so many more trophies now. Alright, bro, I'm gonna issue a ping. I need a response from one of you guys. Alright?
Yeah, I still low-key need that one.
Alright, we can. What's the word?
Farm it, bro.
Farm, yeah.
Achievement farming.
Boosting, bro. We can boost. Remember when mans used to boost on Call of Duty?
Bro, man's used to boost on everything.
right heroes could make
Fair
all
enough.
the difference.
Alright, let me go first.
Dibs.
Nah, you go
Damn.
first, bro.
Okay,
I'll go
fine.
first because you can play the character after if you want to. Did you get the one with Star-Lord, bro?
What was the one side?
You gotta ping fall back 3 times.
Yeah, I did that one. That was easy.
I didn't say it was gonna be hard, bro.
I did that naturally, bro.
Yeah, let's go back, guys. Can you acknowledge that? Can you acknowledge that?
What did you say?
Coming in 30 seconds.
Oh wait, how do I acknowledge that?
I think you just gotta look at me and like press the button to get chat. Man.
Yo, Namor doesn't have to reload? What the fuck?
Friends of Atlas reunion tour? I don't know.
You can't deny that would be a
Did
hot
you do it?
ticket.
I'm looking at you.
But I
Look at
Why
the
can't?
ping.
What are you, oh wait.
What are you guys doing?
Got you.
There you go.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to
Yo, what are you guys doing?
secure the mission area.
Nothing?
I'm gonna do it. I have an idea.
What's your idea?
Was it?
I'm the sworn protector of Quinlan. Who are you?
Oh yeah. Oh, I should have prayed before I went in there, bro. Yeah, I died immediately.
Oh my god.
No more got his squid on me, bro.
We need help.
Where the fuck am I?
It's okay, I'm back in there. I'm back. Oh, the fucking nest is right here. Get me out of here. Holy. I'm dead again.
Denizens of the deep.
The fuck just killed me? Oh, was that Hulk skin? Or not recognize that shit?
Yeah.
Foreskin? Hulk skin?
Yo, brother. Yo, are you in there, bro? I'm in here.
I got you.
Appreciate you.
In its tracks.
Appreciate you. Do this.
Oh, they got the checkpoint? That's crazy.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
Nah, you are Groot, bro. I know who that dead guy is. Oh, I'm
Oh my
laughing.
god, what the fuck is
Look at
going
this squid is crazy, bro. Oh, the fucking wall closed on me, bro.
I could use this.
Alright, hold on. I'm about to hit a nasty prayer. Alright, I'm in there, back. I'm in there. I'm fighting Hulk right now. I'm in there.
I'm 0-2 in the 8.
Go get this Hulk guy right now, bro. I'm assaulting him, bro. I'm preying on him. Oh, what the fuck am I doing, bro?
Oh my god, bro.
I'm getting fucked, bro.
Okay.
Still a chance to
Vince 18's our ace now.
I
That
don't
guy's carrying
think so, bro.
us. Yo, I'm about to pray on him.
Back again, my back against the wall. No, come on, y'all.
Alright, who won?
Is that your comfort song, bro?
Yo,
Oh my god, Arjun, I just saw you get erased, bro.
Yo,
No, you didn't, bro.
Yeah, I did, bro.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
bro.
Yo, take on mine. I didn't run away better.
Bro, what the fuck is this?
Wait, I'm about.
Yo, I think we should all go Healy.
No more diff.
Better stop that vehicle.
Oh, we have no tank? Oh yeah, okay, fuck it. Let's turn it up, bro. Fuck this guy think they're nice, bro.
Alright, get magic right now. I'm getting magic right now. Magic's coming out of here right now. Magic's not dead. Magic's back. Oh, keep going Towel. Oh my god, this fucking bitch.
Let's go.
Bro, I can't. There's no ultimate, bro.
Nope.
That's dangerous out there, bro. Go kill the squid.
Solo has blessed me again.
Alright. I'm almost there. Let me just pray on him real quick. Alright, I'm in it to win it now, guys.
Double KO.
Yo, watch me get a 3K outside my ult. Oh, 4K? Wow. 4 in a row.
My chi is all tapped
Fuck
out.
this game, bro.
You stop them in their tracks.
The Hulk's about to pull up, yeah. He's here.
There's no more.
Get him in here.
I'm getting the more first, not gonna lie. Oh, I can't. Invisible woman's here.
Guys, I'm less than one shot, bro.
It's okay, we can hold this for 5.5 minutes, bro. Don't worry. Oh, guys, we're good.
Give them another inch. Or else.
Oh, I'm dead, guys.
No.
Once again, I'm 5 to 7 days. How does this?
No.
I rise in the name of Quinlan.
It's okay, I got my ult in
My chi is all tapped out.
20 seconds.
Revenge is
Uh-huh.
mentally unbalanced.
Use the numbers. Oh, okay. Okay, we're doing numbers. Everybody's ulting. Okay. Now see, here's the thing. Wound Snow is definitely.
Everybody's horny. I like what I see,
yo.
bro.
Wounds you
Yo, he should won. Let's go.
birthday.
We're good, bro.
Good shit,
We're good, bro.
man.
We're good. Ultimate lock-in,
Yeah, bro.
bro.
Hope you know that shit will never not kill me, bro.
We got 4.5 minutes, bro. Back up, back up, back up. Wait, I don't need to be doing all that. Luna Snow definitely has ult still, I think.
Friends, we need to fall back.
Somebody go bait that ult. Surf will go bait their ult, bro.
Stand show or squid free.
Oh, magic.
Oh my god, the bridge broke.
The bridge broke.
Ah, they seized me. The Hulk seized me.
Immortality has its perks.
Good shit, Mantis.
Oh my god, Hulk. 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 Oh. Save me. Save me. Save me. He's chasing me. This guy's actually chasing me, bro.
I got him, bro. Puny banner.
Oh my god, I'm about to
Yeah,
die.
he's dead.
Yo, guys. Somebody get these squids, bro, please.
I would, but
Praying on
one
him,
shot.
praying on him. I'm ulting.
You're beautiful, bro.
You're beautiful.
Got him.
Oh my god, just let me, bro.
Oh yeah, there's the shit.
I'm dead.
Stop them in their tracks.
You were way too deep, bro.
I was fighting both their tanks by my
Fuck is that, do you think?
It's okay. 3 minutes.
Solo has blessed me
I can
again.
definitely get my ult again. With 4 ults? Okay. I think Luna Snow still has her ult, bro. Oh no, they switched off Luna Snow. I'm tweaking.
Yo, get this out, get this out.
Got his ass. Got his ass.
Your heals?
No, 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 no. Oh my god, that's my first death in a while, bro.
Your heals? I bet. I'm gonna go get this health back, bro. Fuck you guys.
Oh, fuck, Match got the health back, bro.
Guys, come on.
No,
Not like this.
no. They not like us. They not. I have no health, bro. Fuck.
Better stop that vehicle.
No!
What's the point, Mantis? That's the point, Mantis.
Yo, half of the heals are.
We have 1 healer, bro.
Oh, bro, we have 1 here.
Bro, Penny wasn't even good. That wasn't even a good Penny, bro.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's a shit penny. What the fuck?
They switch or something?
Oh, yeah, it's probably the Hulk.
No.
Wait, what? Nah. Honestly, their Hulk was their best
Hulk was
player.
their Iron Fist, bro. What the fuck? I switched to Iron Fist.
Wait. This dude was 6 and 5. Maybe I'm tweaking.
Nah, but Namor was definitely good money, bro. If somebody has W key, yo, chill, bro. Talking about me? You hate me, bro.
Yeah, man, at least you got a 4-piece.
Man, shut the fuck up. Bro, I'm never getting this fucking achievement.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Yes!
一夫当关，万夫莫开。
Yes!
Wait, Squirrel Girl and Spider-Man have a team up?
Yeah, they've been at a team.
Bruh, I had no idea.
Squirrel power.
Stampede!
My friends are here.
You know my legacy.
Press the wrong
but
button.
this
Started
is a
praying by
whole
accident.
new chapter.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
Okay, so I think the problem is that I'm just using my ult at a bad time. Because every time I ult, there's
Yep.
always some fucking bitch ass Luna Snow that's on the other team ulting at the same time. So I have to.
So time it. Wait for Luna Snow to ult and then.
I have to be super
Battle
patient.
starts in 5, 4,
So I should pray.
Yeah, am I tweaking or did the more used to have 3 squids at one point?
You can't have 3 at the same
securing the
time.
mission area.
No, but did he used to have
But he
3
used
at
to
one
have
point?
two,
Or am I
two
tweaking?
normal ones, and then he had a
No,
team
it's
with
only
Luna
2 at a
Snow.
time.
He did team with Luna Snow.
Oh,
and he gave
always
him another
2?
One.
Brother.
Like there's an ice one.
Oh, whoa.
It's okay, I got him. Bro.
Oh, please.
Who got me though?
Whew, almost bowed out.
I'm dead, guys.
I can heal you now.
Surfel, did you almost just fall off the map?
The Iron Fist still burns. Hey team, enjoy the amplifier. Time to heal.
More foes to conquer.
Good to be protected. Whoa. Come on, teach me how to fight.
Alright, I'm in there, bro. I'm fighting for my life. Oh, she chokeslam me? Oh, okay, I'm out of here. Let me pray on him real quick.
Solo's fury.
Oh, went deep.
I rise in the name
Nice
of
one.
I rate this rocket, bro. This rocket loves me, bro.
This guy's a W healer, bro. They're on the point? What the heck?
Armed and
Oh, alright, everybody's ulting? Hello?
Everybody horny. Look what I see. Oh, yo, our one healer died.
You only have one healer?
bless me, Solo.
Yeah, that's really good.
Bro, I'm playing terribly, bro.
No.
Oh, fuck. I got Emma Frost open.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'll do better.
Solo
fucked
has
up
blessed
too,
me
bro.
again.
I'm not used to no more at all, bro.
No fucking death. Oh my god, bro.
This is real firepower!
Oh, I fucked up. I fucked up.
You just punching the fucking rocket off?
No, I'm trying to keep my sustain up, bro, while I recharge my cooldowns. It's a technique, bro. Don't worry.
All clear, no more onk.
Ooh, a touch of healing.
Solo has blessed me again.
Turning up still.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's turning up. Everybody's turning up.
Good shit.
Oh, I gotta buy some. Ooh, get me out of here. I'm not. I thought it was the other blonde woman.
World.
It's Emma Frost, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Oh, fire, our friends are here.
Cloak.
Oh, bro.
I thought it was Cloak. That boy sunned me, bro.
I'm dead. I'm not dead. Holy, I'm not dead. Oh, Bucky behind us. Let me pray.
Did you pray today?
Good shit.
Alright.
Need time to refocus.
Need time to refocus, guys.
Whoa, something's happening to my antenna. Something is happening to me.
Yo, let me pray on that.
the moon haunts you.
Yo, the dude haunts you. Yo, I went too deep, guys. Oh, I ran right into fucking Winter Soldier. Oh, I'm back.
What is going on?
Relax,
Why do you
relax,
think it's
relax.
so strong, bro.
Why did they get so strong? Is that what you said?
RJ, you're not gonna win that fight, bro. You're not
I
gonna
know.
win this fight, bro.
Bro. I got stuck, man. What'd you want me to do?
Oh, yo, I didn't win that fight either, guys.
I just start.
Better stop that vehicle.
When
I just start.
Where is-
Oh my god, bro. My screen is easy.
Got them!
Oh, you sound like
Bro, your voice is cutting out. Oh my god.
Alright, everybody's ulting again.
No.
Yo, guys, I'm dead. Circle is doing something. Okay, now he's back. He's back.
still burns.
You get a weapon, you get a weapon, you get a weapon.
That vehicle!
Oh my god, bro. What am I doing? Bro, I'm done. I'm done.
Alright, watch this. I'm about to get 3 kills right now, bro. I died.
Immortality.
Stop them in their tracks! Us against the world!
Oh, Moon Knight.
Armed and dangerous.
Alright, they just used 5 ults, bro. Get me the fuck out of here before he does it again.
Again. Again.
Bro, these guys are so big.
Oh my god, bro. Get the fuck off of me.
Now might be a good time to stop them.
Someone scratch my back.
Okay.
We still only have 1 healer. I'm switching. Gabe's better switch right now.
Now we're 3v1ing right now. 4v1ing right now. I'm still alive somehow. Okay, I'm getting heals. Let's go. I'm still fighting. Okay, I'm dead. How did I live that long?
Oh, sweet moves, right?
Systems restored.
Long before I do.
I should be next level terrorism on them.
Yo! Dog, that fucking Emma Frost ult is crazy.
Real firepower!
Oh, real firepower?
It's okay, I'm about to pray on them. Oh, I missed. Yo, that Ankh is doing damage, bro.
How did he put me from so far? What the?
Bro. This is bad.
The moon haunts you.
How did he get it again?
Oh,
Bro,
I'm
you're just
saying.
farming, bro. What do you mean, how? No, please don't kill me, you fucker. Oh, okay,
Us against the world!
Solo has blessed me again.
okay. The downy healer. You know what I'm gonna do about that? I'm gonna pray on it. I'm gonna pray on it. Yes, sir.
Only 60 seconds left.
Oh, only 60 seconds. That's not doing too bad.
Moon Knight's dead. I'm a frost about to get. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
They captured the mission area!
Solo has blessed me again. Hey, Teeny! Enjoy the amplifier!
Down to 30 seconds.
Bless me, Solo.
These keyhole things are dangerous.
This is real firepower!
Yo, I died.
Born again.
Oh, yeah.
No! No, we got it, we good.
Yeah, we got something, bro. I'm playing.
Yeah, Bucky's dead. We good.
Let's keep fighting until we have a winner.
Oh my god, I missed my kick, bro.
Against the world!
Start punching, bro. Let me at him. Let me at him. Let me at him. They're opening a portal? Yo, chill.
Bro, my frame rates are can't handle this.
Bro, they're opening a portal. Oh, not the
No!
portal.
Oh yeah, what? Oh, Moonlight was about to ult, bro. We got lucky.
Bro, let me just get my ult real quick.
Oh my god.
Bro,
Oh my god.
everything was about to switch once I went to Warlock, bro.
I'll never get this fucking
Oh, Rocket was locked in. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Shout out Rocket, bro. Rocket, I love you.
Moon
Bro, am I
pie.
healing? Yeah, bro, you're healing.
Dylan T.
Last one. Got one more in me.
Let's go.
Bro, oh my god. Fucking eyes twitching, bro. That's how locked in I was.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
一夫当关，万夫莫开。
M Baller, Gordy Goobers, and Luch Lion. Luch Lion?
Baller.
Is it Luch Lion or Luch Lion? Like one word.
Gordy Goobers.
Alright. You guys think I got it this time? That's what I like to hear.
You know my legacy, but this is a whole new chapter. My
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
You're underestimating me, buddy. My chi is fully focused.
Whatever happened to anime pulling up too?
You know what?
Yeah, where's
You want to
Johnson,
do
bro?
I'm just gonna let
66?
you have this one.
Oh.
Where's Johnson, bro? This guy never popped and called him for a quick play,
4,
bro.
3.
Yo, Surfo, bro. You ever gonna check the Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, you're moving like a Ramesh right now. I can't lie.
This guy's not checking, bro. Yeah, at least he joined the Discord, bro. Yeah, he's a cheer, bro. And he pushed for the NSFW channel and then just left.
Okay, bro, guys, that.
Guys, how'd you let them kill me and not kill the other boost band? I was flexing on
You'll
them, bro.
fall long before I do.
That's why, bro. We thought you had it handled.
I see you have need of Doctor Strange.
Better stop that vehicle.
Why'd you switch off Hollow, bro? This guy lost his team.
Yo, Surfo, you already fucking portal.
Why are you portaling, bro? What the fuck you need a portal for, bro? Just walk.
I died instantly, bro. That's just so funny.
Yo, let me pray on them real quick. Oh, nobody's shooting me. What the heck?
Yeah, that shit did not work.
Oh no, the portal's gone. Fuck.
Yo, this guy chasing me. This big boy's chasing me.
Big boy.
Hulk. Bro, I'm trying to do real damage right now. I'm actually trying to put in work.
Alright, where's the Iron Man, bro?
Got him, don't worry.
Yeah, bro.
Fuck him up, bro. Let's go.
You'll fall long before I do.
Okay, guys, I almost have my ult. Inshallah,
Yo!
I get 3 kills with
That's
it.
big, that's big, that's big.
Us against the world.
Yo, Black Panther in their backline?
I'm going to get Iron Man, bro. I'm flying this guy. Never mind. No more got me in this fucking.
There's no way!
You'll fall
Why'd you
long
switch to
before I
Spider-Man,
do.
bro?
Better stop that vehicle.
Spider-Man's fun, bro.
Cause he's fast.
They hit a checkpoint.
I'm struggling, bro. I'm selling bad, bro.
You're good, bro.
Okay, bro. Yo, did Invisible you
Honestly,
your ult yet?
the most fun games are when we get to the like last checkpoint and they have 8 minutes and we just defend for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Oh
Wow.
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 Wow. Fuck this game, bro.
No.
Raffy Taffy.
Immortality has its perks.
Bro, if only there was like some sign that they were about to go brain dead so that I knew when to use my ult, bro. 'Cause, like, why does it always happen like after?
Yeah, so bad. Oh my god.
Alright, we gotta get
Badly needed. Bless me, Solo.
Oh, this guy's still alive, bro. Fuck. Oh my god.
Time to get back to basics.
Punisher, bro. Like fucking
Punisher?
tutorial level, bro.
Solo has blessed me
I
again.
really went back to the basics, man.
Shields up.
Yo, since when did Iron Man have so much health? Oh my god.
He gets extra health when he goes into like booster mode or whatever the fuck it's called.
I had no idea.
Against the world. Disappear.
Okay, they both use the now. If I all, I should be able to win, you know.
Oh, you, bro, why'd you save me, bro?
If I had the health and all that.
You think I saved you, bro? You think I saved you, bro?
There's still a chance to stop
Yo,
them.
save me, bro, please.
Yeah, I saved you. I saved you again,
I
bro.
appreciate you.
Oh, you saved me, bro. Let's go.
Whole team back.
Oh my god.
Get this fucking Black Panther, dog.
Hold on, I'm fighting Cloak and Dagger right now. Cloak and Dagger's almost dead, bro. Cloak and Dagger's dead.
Time to stop them.
Oh, guys, where'd you guys go? Thought you guys would be holding down the point.
Oh my god, bro. That shit just went.
I rise in the name of Quinlan.
Sir fell, man.
You
Dog.
need to bring Black
Get
Panther
that
out?
BP,
Is that what you're
bro.
telling me?
Bring back who?
Bring that Black Panther out, bro.
Alright, guys.
We at least need a tank,
I'm
bro.
praying on him, I'm praying on him. Alright, guys, yeah, I gotta sacrifice my life for Pakistan, bro. I'm about to die. Oh, I didn't die. Fuck it, I'm ulting. Oh, now I'm about to die. Yeah, of course I did.
What the fuck is Black Panther doing, bro? He just came, jumped around, and left.
You'll fall long before I do.
I'm doing this my way.
It's now or
Surf was
never.
doing this his way.
Stop them.
Oh, you fucking. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell
Dude, get the
no.
ass.
You're getting my ass.
Alright, do the tick, bro.
Oh, I'm dead.
Bro, I don't have it, bro.
It's okay, we got Doctor Strange now, bro. Everything
Bro thinks
will be
all it's
okay.
going trees.
Bro, I wish they did.
I got you covered. Don't give them another inch.
Yeah, I'm gonna pray real quick. Alright, Hulk. You're getting to work. Hulk, alright, I gave Hulk the work. Black Panther's next. Black Panther's getting the work.
Yeah, get the Black Panther, dog,
He
please.
dead, he dead. I gave him the work.
Oh, I didn't realize so many of them are alive.
Alright, let me pray on him real quick. Alright, I'm back in it, I'm giving him Emma Frost the work.
Get the ass, Manir. Get the ass, Manir.
Alright, we're going in.
Let's go, Manir. Get the
He's
ass.
opening
Get
a
the
portal,
ass.
bro.
Oh, is that a portal? Oh, that's a good comm still.
Oh, I think it's our portal, bro. I think it's our portal, bro.
He's stuck in
Unless this guy fucking goofed it. Alright, let me pray on him real quick. Hulk's here, guys. Alright, new Spaniard. Namor's dead. Alright, Hulk.
Demetrius is Marianne now?
My auntie is a man now?
Healed at last.
Ah, we locked, bro. We're locked.
Warlock?
Bless me, so
Warlock reference!
Alright, oh, I might have went too deep, guys. Okay, they're doing all that. Now we just gotta wait for the other one. There's the other. Oh, that's ours.
What are you about to say? That's like, oh, that's ours?
I thought they used both at the same time. There it is. Okay. Oh, that's not good. Oh, you brought me back real quick. That's crazy.
healed at last.
Alright, I'm in
Let's
there.
go!
There's one. That's two.
My path is behind you. My path is behind you.
You fucking froze me. Oh my god.
No,
I was about
Hawkeye.
to get Luna Snow, but then Hulk like fucking yelled at me and did this shit where I can... Started from the bottom, 5%.
Yeah, we locked in. We locked in, bro. Look at my boy Manir is ace, dog.
For what, bro?
Oh yeah, they're all grouped up. They're about to start using ults. Let's win this round.
Oh, one, yeah, okay.
Oh, let's go, Surfo!
Immortality has
Stop them in their tracks.
Yeah.
Yo, I've never seen a quicker Hulk out to death in my life.
Damn, what a lock-in, bro.
Oh, BP?
Oh, he touching point? Okay.
You'll have to keep
I died.
Extending the game. This guy never misses, bro.
Yo, sorry. Yo, Manir, go. Manir, go.
I'm not even in my ult.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
That's embarrassing?
No, I said that's crazy. It's not embarrassing.
Nah, it wasn't.
Let's go.
big victory.
I
Gordy Goober.
What I should live.
Yeah, I got juice. Back to basics.
Basics. Bro. I was so close, but then fucking Hulk cooked me up, bro. Damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna rush him, Burb.
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not judging.
One of these days, I'm gonna get the achievement. Learning Loki, that's fire, bro.
Immortality comes with a price, but I was glad to pay it.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
You're still playing Punisher, bro?
Yeah.
Yes.
The battle starts in 5.
You're right.
4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
You guys can think squirrels can talk and have them? Sure, but whatever you want.
Time to heal. Spiders, watch your step.
Yo, spiders, watch your step.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
I got his ass, guys. Oh, I didn't get that one.
You'll fall long.
Why is everyone just in the spawn room?
Arden's taking a piss, I think. I'm locked in though. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, my game crash? What the heck? What the heck? Why you do that? Why you do that? Why you do that? That's embarrassing still. Launch the game, launch the game. Oh, you're gonna compile shaders again, you fucker. Zooming, we zooming, we zooming, we zooming, we zooming. We zooming, we zooming, we zooming, we zooming, we zooming. We zooming, we zooming, we zooming, we zooming, we zooming. Look at that, we're zooming. Alright, fuck all this, fuck all this, fuck all this, bro. Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. Put me back in, coach.
Oh, he's back.
Can you come back?
I'm back, I'm back, I'm back.
Oh, he's back? I bet.
My game crashed for some reason.
Who are you?
Oh, fuck, yo. Yo, no way they're doing this to us.
What happened to Surfo?
Oh, did he leave?
Surfo, you left?
Is someone left?
Oh, well, Surfo got replaced though.
Because he saw you leave, he's like, yo, let's leave. Alright, I'm Iron Man. Hold on, I'm running to the point, No, I'm out of juice, No, give me 1 second, no!
Damn.
Alright, should we leave?
I guess so.
Yeah, you can't come back.
Well, why'd you leave, bro?
Because I thought you DC'd.
I did, but I came back.
But I left before you came back.
Yo, I accidentally joined again and then left.
Alright, let's not ask him. I'm out of juice though.
I bet.
Alright. I am gonna get the achievement.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
He is gonna get the achievement.
I will get this achievement. And I will 100% this game on Steam. That's all that matters. Yo, did you guys sign up for this this game Amos trying to get us to play, bro?
Oh, we have to sign up?
It's like, well, like the game's not out officially until like June. This guy's like, yo, sign up for the open beta or whatever.
There were lots of iron fists before me, but I'll be the best.
30 seconds before you attack.
Yo, honestly, bro.
This guy really trying to play that game, bro.
Why don't we just hop back on Rocket League? I'm down though. Wait, did Wolverine get buffed?
No, he didn't get touched.
You sure?
In 5, 4,
I'm pretty sure.
3, 2, 1.
Bro, I swear.
Iron Fist does his job better now.
Oh shit. Cause yo, I swear, if you spam the trigger, Wolverine used to only have three hits, now he has 4.
Huh? Nah, he always has 4, bro.
Almost about out.
bitch broke us.
Double
Now
KO.
has blessed me again. Time to heal.
Ow.
That's the boost I needed.
The Iron Fist
You're
still
halfway there.
burns.
Keep going.
This must belong to Moon Knight.
Together to victory!
Bless me, Solo.
Alright, let me play him.
Leave them to consume!
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
Yeah, let's go over here.
Back team.
Disappear.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good either.
Us against the world.
Okay. I guess I'm praying about that. Holy, how many ults? Oh, get me out of here. Oh, I'm back.
Bruh.
Oh, fuck, I'm gonna die again.
Not bad.
Fuck off of me. Oh my god. The fucking nest.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Yo, get that vehicle moving again, bro.
The Iron Fist still burns.
Alright, Moon Knight's our only range. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, unless we get DPS rocket on the team.
Yeah. Even then, bro, rockets
Nah,
damage drop
rockets
off.
are knock. Rockets are walk 'em down monster, bro.
Yeah, but that's more short mid range, no?
Dash and dash out. I'm getting cooked. Oh my god. Okay, okay. That's big, that's big. I'm gonna ult on him. I'm gonna ult on the whole top. Moon Knight's cooked. Moon Knight's dead. In there, in there. In there, in there.
That's three.
Still alive? Oh, he's still alive.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum. Double KO.
Yeah, we fucked up that penny still.
My health.
Where you? Yo, enjoy the amplifier?
Okay, okay, okay. I'm enjoying that, bro. I just had a 530 health for a second, bro. That's crazy.
We're just all chasing to the Star-Lord.
I'm dead. Maybe I flex on him too.
Fuck.
Keep going.
You'll fall long before I do.
Someone help our cat, bro. Holy.
Did you just get pushed off the fucking thing?
Oh yeah, you gotta watch that ledge, bro.
Oh,
That happens.
That was my first death, bro.
I'm cooked here.
The wounds are gone. Thanks.
Solo has blessed me again.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Keep following the webs to victory. Bless me, Solo.
Oh my god. Oh my god, how am I alive? That's fuck. Bro, there's like 3 ults that happened at the exact same time. I was so confused.
The Iron Fist still burns.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Time to heal.
Not this fucker. Let's go! Did I do it? Surely I did it. Surely I did it.
I swear to God, you did. You must have.
I got 5. There's no way I didn't get it. I just got a hexa kill. If I didn't get it, bro, I'm actually
Invisible Woman's still
I'm
alive.
actually never playing this character again, bro. No, like genuinely, bro. If I didn't get 3 kills in my ult just there, I'm not playing this character ever again.
Invisible Woman's still here, bro. She just pushed me. Pussy. Fuck you.
Oh,
Invisible Woman's somewhere here, bro. No, I'm about to die. Invisible Woman's about to kill me again, bro.
Thank you very much. Solo has
Yo,
blessed
kill this woman, bro.
kill this woman. Bro, they got 3 of them. on
How's
the
she
same
alive,
team,
bro? How's she alive? No. Oh, she's cheating, bro. She's cheating.
Are you sure you're not getting confused?
There's
with
no.
the-
How she the fuck? How the fuck is she alive? I'm not picking fucking healer.
Only 60 seconds left.
You know, we gotta win. Let's lock in.
Got 60 seconds left. 1.2.
So let's lock in.
The Iron Fist still burns.
Captain America, you and me are going lock in, bro. I believe
Bro,
that.
so
I'm
far.
locked in. They just keep healing each other. So if I go after one healer, the other one heals them. I need more people going after their supports.
Alright, I'm coming, bro. Don't worry.
No, she tried the thing again.
Yeah, well, alright. The ulti? That's not good. Okay, let's get him back. Yes. Okay, get cloak. Oh, I got the nest. I'm a frost. Yes.
Good luck.
I'm ulting.
Good shit.
That's 3. Okay, if I didn't get it this time, I'm actually gonna crash out.
Actually good. Okay, good shit.
Checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Nah, I don't like how good I got with this character, bro.
I feel like I'm seeing.
Oh, I didn't save it. Oh, the fucking nest, bro. Get invis. Get invis. Alright, we're gonna stay. This guy's here, bro.
That's it. Don't let anything stand
Poison.
in your way.
Oh, fuck. Oh, that's not good.
30 seconds.
Thank you very much. Solo has blessed me again. Time to heal.
Oh, fuck, bro. Just need you to hold it down, bro.
I know, I grew goddess.
Moon Knight could eat with the ult
I rise
if
to
he
the
gets a good position in time.
Time. You'll have to keep fighting until you're clear.
Holy. Damn.
Alright, we're getting ready.
We've got trouble.
Are we?
Yeah, it's only 2. There's only two of them now.
Standpoint, bro, standpoint!
Oh.
Well, you can't expect it to
I got the
Wow.
achievement, guys.
Can't believe. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna get off, guys. GG's. I'm gonna send a picture if you got the achievement.
Let you go.
Good night, guys.
Good night, bro.